Hey, welcome back to Lotus Night Show. I am super happy to have you here today. So come on in and get in where you fit in, because I've always got room right around my table for you, your friends, and your frenemies. So go ahead, like, share, start a watch party, run and tell somebody that Lotus Riche Ignites is hot on the box. I'm going to encourage you, grab your notebook and grab your pen, because I always say note takers are money makers and note takers are change makers. And welcome back. This your girl Lotus Riche of the Lotus Riche Ignite Show, keeping it right and tight. So come on in and get in where you fit in. Why? Because I've always got room around my table for you. And tonight, let me tell you tonight, I've got somebody on the show tonight that's going to knock your socks off. He has been on the show a couple of times before. He's joined me in the studio in Atlanta with my homeboy Kevin Thornton on the Wellness Architect Show. He was a guest on the roundtable. We did a roundtable of generations of African American men, and boy, I tell you, it was phenomenal. But tonight, we are keeping it right and tight as we talk about tenacity through tough times. And let's face it, many people have had tough times. Have you? If you've had tough times, or if you know somebody that had tough times, put a 2 in the comment block below, because we're here with you to talk it through. And so I know you're going to say, Lolo, what's going on? What you got in your cup? And I want to share what I have in my cup, but I'm also going to ask you to share what's in your cup. Tonight, I'm sipping on some good old water. What are you sipping on? And I'm going to ask Anthony too. Now, look, if you don't have your Ignites cup, go ahead, grab your Ignites cup, because it's time for you to ignite and take flight in every area of your life. And listen, I got to tell you, and I always say, I'm bringing inspiration to every nation. Why? Because I can. And guess what? So can you. And so with no further to do, I want you to go ahead and do this. I'm going to grab mine, and you should grab yours too. You know, I have to turn mine around. I don't want everybody to see my notes. So get your notepad and get your pen. Why? Because like I always say, note takers are money makers and note takers are change makers. So as you come in, I would love and appreciate if you go ahead and tell your friends, tell your frenemies to come on in, even tell your dog Toto, because Toto need to know now. So listen, when you come in, go ahead and let us know where you coming in from, because we definitely want to know where you're coming in from so we can give you a shout out. Okay, so without a doubt, we're going to have a spectacular show tonight. So we're going to keep it right and tight, and I am going to go ahead and I'm going to go backstage, because I've got to get my friend Anthony R. Page so we can talk about tenacity through tough times. And if you are even having tough times today, stick with the show. Anthony just may be able to give you some information that you can use to pull you through these tough times that you're dealing with. Okay, so listen, I'm going to go backstage and I'm going to see if Anthony will, come out and hang out with us. He just might. So as I said, I'm going to go back and get him. And so you hang tight. I'll be right back. All right. Yep. All right. It's trying for me not to go away, y'all. Hold on. It's trying for me not to go away, y'all. I don't know why it don't want to just let me go away. So I guess I must have something else to say. But this is what I will say. I will say to you, if you are just joining me, I've already announced that we're getting ready to go live with my friend, Mr. Anthony R. Page. And when he comes on the show, I want you to give him some love. Maybe the show is telling me, hey, you need to give the brother some love. So listen, I want you to give him some love when he comes into the show. And show them how we do it at the Lotus Riche Ignite show. Okay, just show them how we do it. Let's see. Let's see if I can get this thing rolling for you. Let's see here. It don't want to let me in, but it's okay. We're gonna do something else for you. I'm gonna go and play a quick promo from our sponsors, because listen, what would I do without sponsors? So I'm gonna go to the sponsor and I'm gonna come right back. Hang tight. Be right back. If you're an entrepreneur and you are ready to live the dream in 2021, well, come on and get on board with the visibility strategist herself, the CEO of Unity in Service, where people need people, the phenomenal Patricia Rogers, as she presents Entrepreneurs Living the Dream 2021. It's an online event that you don't want to miss. There will be several opportunities for public speakers, public TEDx speakers. You heard it right. Public TEDx speakers. Starting on February 25th, 2021, June 24th, 2021, October 21st, 2021, April 22nd, 2021, and August 26th, 2021. You don't want to miss this. Get at her at info@patriciarogers.com, info@patriciarogers.com, where Unity in Service, where people need people. I love it. And listen, where would I be without Rugger Wellness? Now, I always love to tell folks, you have got to get your finances up. Get your finances up, be wealthy, and be healthy, because your health is your wealth. So we're going right to our other sponsor for tonight, Rugger Wellness. We'll be right back. Keep it. So listen, I'm going to bring to you and present to some of you already know this gentleman. Mr. Anthony R. Page is producer. He's a multimedia specialist. He's a director. He's a writer. He's an actor. He's a photographer. He's a designer at the Blue Bistro Creative. But most importantly, he is a man who has come through the foibles of life, and he has come through triumphantly. And so, with no further ado, I want to present to you my friend, my brother, Mr. Anthony R. Page. Come on, y'all. Woo-woo!
Hey, what's going on, sister?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing fantastic, and I'm super, super duper happy to have you here, because look, we got a tough topic tonight. We're talking about tenacity through tough times. And boy, we've seen some tough times. See, folks, right. Y'all don't know, we went through college together, so we've seen some tough times, especially when we had to defend papers in front of the class or whatever. But tonight, Anthony, I'm so happy to have you here. And I want to talk to you about tenacity through tough times and what it means. So can you please tell our guests first a little bit more about you? Because I told them kind of who you are, what you do, and somewhat of how you do it. But what I'd like you to do is tell them more about you. All yours.
Okay. First of all, like you said, I'm in the arts for sure, by gift and passion. I studied business and I have multiple degrees on the side of business, but my passion is art. And then I decided to live in that passion and turn my passion into a business. So I work right now as a director, producer, and writer. That's my primary focus, but I do have some supplemental things I do, like photography and acting and graphic design. But I spend my time, I'm doing a couple music videos right now. Got a couple of short films I'm working on. Before COVID, we were doing a lot of live events. So, that's what I do. My company is called Blue Bistro Creative.
Fantastic. So let's get right into this topic, because tough times has come for all people, but we can only speak from our own experience. We can only speak from the tenacity that we've known and how we've grown. So can you tell us a little bit about how you have had tenacity through some of your tough times, and maybe share one or two of tough times with us?
Well, I think it comes from the fabric of how I was raised. I'm a South Carolina boy,
Woo woo!
and people in South Carolina don't complain much. We just get up and go. And
Yes.
I think it's a part of the culture there. I'm a country boy, grew up walking around the backyard with no shoes on, digging in the dirt, that whole thing. Mama had to spray us off before we come in the house, kind of thing.
Yes.
And I think, but what a big thing that I learned is work ethic.
Yes.
We always found a way, no matter what came our way, financially, mentally, emotionally, whatever came our way, we found a way to move forward. So I think
Right.
I know it comes from my family.
Right.
As I matured and got into, my own adult life, education was a big part of that. Learning,
Hmm.
and being honest with myself was critically important, because you can't really fix a problem until you identify what the problem is.
Exactly.
So how does that relate to tenacity for me? That will to truly live my best life, to understand what that is, because in so many parts of my life, I felt restricted. I felt like I couldn't fully be who I was, for a variety of reasons.
Right.
So I started moving towards that. I
Hmm.
started moving towards, who am I really? I said, I'd hate to live my whole life and not know who I am, or never met this wonderful person that I should know, but don't. So I left my job in corporate America, so to speak, in 2008, and just went out there, and that was the journey of self-discovery. I learned so much about myself.
Yeah.
I learned who I am really,
Mhm.
and it's been a great journey. But what drives me and what keeps me moving through that tough times is is that discovery for me,
Yeah.
and not wanting to let my parents see me fail, not wanting to let my kids see me fail. Those are big whys for me, particularly my kids, because
Right.
I'm hoping through my actions and my work and my business, I can change the conversation for them as they mature. I really don't want my kids to have jobs. I want them to find something they're good at and build a business around it. So I'm hoping I'm giving them that example.
Awesome. So I want to say this to you, because I've seen you um, through college, and I've seen you after college, and you always were an overachiever. And we didn't really talk about how many degrees you have, because you have several, and you've had some of the best jobs. But here's one thing that's been consistent with you from the very first moment I met you. And you always instilled in others, not just as yourself. And you were always a living example of the fact that you have to have something of your own. You have to have your own business. You have to make your own way. You have to leave something for the next generation to come. And I got to tell you, a lot of times people don't really take responsibility. Sometimes they say, well, I can't be successful because this person says that I can't be successful. But you've always led the way in being successful. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that, about how can people take responsibility for their own success.
I think you have to leap, first of all. I think Steve Jobs said it. He said, think differently. You have to think differently. Living under what preconceived notions you might have about something, um,
Yes.
have to be eliminated. You just have to go.
Right.
Because I had so much education, I thought I understood how to run a business until I actually did it.
Right.
So from 2008, when I left corporate America, to 2011, I got my behind handed to me, because I had skills and I knew how to do
Yes.
these things, But to run a whole business and to run a whole enterprise where I'm now responsible for everything, I had no clue. But I was determined to make it. I soldiered on. I learned, and I continue to learn. I'm taking classes now. I'm taking some leadership classes at Harvard through their online program, and I just signed up for a certification through New York University on the film and television side. Constantly learning, constantly growing, because I thought I knew, and then I realized that I didn't when I actually got into certain things. So I'm constantly looking, what do I not know? You know, how can I be better? The whole Lean Six Sigma model. I'm always kind of evaluating where I am and looking for ways that I can get better. And I've seen that practice cause my business to grow and to augment. So it actually works. It's not just lip service. I have a practice of constant improvement that actually helps my bottom line.
Right. And so, you know, I always talk about we have to forever be the student and also be the teacher. And many times I've seen you be the student, but you also are the teacher. And how have you taught people how to really take their own responsibility to be successful? Because here's one thing about you that I've known, that you're transparent. You don't mind telling someone, look, I tried this, I didn't do so good at it, but I didn't give up. You show that tenacity. So can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, one of my mentors told me many years ago, he said, you're a teacher. He said, there's a natural inclination in you to teach. I was kind of offended initially because I'm like, oh, I don't want to be in the classroom, but there's many different ways that I can teach. So, you know, at my peak, I was mentoring like 17 different professionals. And through the things that I do, I'm always mentoring. For example, I teach acting classes through Fulton County. And not just coming into my class and learning, you know, the creative art of acting and getting them some tools to be better actors, I also teach them about the business. Because
it is a business. First and foremost.
Absolutely.
It is a business.
But I absolutely knew that when I started off as an actor, I didn't get many of the opportunities to showcase my best work. Because Hollywood didn't give me the opportunity to say, oh man, I know I can really do this well, but I never got that role. So I learned to create roles for myself. So I tell my students out the gate, find what you're good at and build a project around that with yourself as a lead, because you know you should know yourself better than anybody. Because if you wait for Hollywood to bring you that role of a lifetime, it may never happen. But you can create that role for yourself. But that applies to, you know, any business. If there's something that you're really good at, and you know, get out there and just start pulling the pieces together piece by piece. It's a process, but it can get done, and over time you'll see the progress, you know, come to maturity.
So, Anthony, I know I heard you say, you know, Hollywood basically wasn't beating down your door. And one thing that I know is that is often the situation with many wonderful entrepreneurs such as yourself that's in the acting and movie making and directing field. And yet many people would lay down and die rather than forge on, because it is so difficult. You know, and I've heard people say oppression is real. So I wanted to talk to you about the fact that oppression is real. And I've heard someone say, you know, sometimes people are so beat down, they can't get up. So let's talk about that.
Well, my business being in the arts is even more difficult. Not that, you know, I'm going to set ourselves apart, because, you know, sports is difficult. Politics is difficult. You know, just about any business is difficult. What makes, you know, the arts so difficult is there's no clear pathway to success. I can go to medical school, pass the bar, and go work at a hospital. It's pretty clear how to get to a certain level. But you can have all the degrees, you can have your headshot, your resume, and all that stuff, and never get an opportunity to really show the world what you have as an actor or a writer or a director. And one person may do this, you know, whatever this is, and become successful, and you do the same thing and don't meet with success. In many ways, the arts are almost all entrepreneurial. Every artist finds their own lane. They find their own way to be successful. Anybody can create art, but to build a business around that, to build an enterprise around that, you kind of have to forge your own path. And again, there is no clear blueprint because you
Exactly.
can do exactly what others have done and not meet with the same result. What
Exactly.
you can, of course, incorporate best practices, because there are some
Yes.
things, that just make sense across the board, just good business principles across the board. So that's one of the things that I would mention.
Right. And I like that you said incorporate best practices because a lot of times we can get off of the right track when we start doing everything that everybody else is doing rather than doing what we know that God has given us to do, and also what we love to do. And then we start jumping over into other people's lanes, doing their thing when it's not really our thing. And we leave behind some of the best practices. And fundamentally, some of the best practices is just treat people right, do the right thing, be you know, John C. Maxwell always says, be good. Well, I say be great. Why should I be good when I can be great? And I think
Absolutely.
when you listen to Les Brown always talks to people and he tells them, look, if you go ahead and shoot, okay, if you go ahead and shoot up there, what he said, for the moon, you might land among the stars. And I like that because he's telling us don't just shoot for the sky because the sky is not the limit. The limit is really whatever you make it. But you have to have best practices. It's a systematic way to get to where you're going. But sometimes you have to create your own system to get there in
Absolutely.
the arts.
You said something that kind of sparked something in me. One of the mistakes I made, and I made many, I've hit the brick wall 1,000 times, going 1,000 miles an hour. And learning by trial and error is difficult because sometimes it takes you so long financially, mentally, emotionally
Yes.
to get up,
Mhm.
and you're not a part of a company per se where you got support from
Exactly.
HR and your fellow
Exactly.
coworkers.
Exactly.
When you're a small enterprise like me, you have to find it in yourself.
Right.
One of the mistakes I made is being busy, equating activity with progress. What I
Right.
call being
Right.
busy and broke. I'm doing a
Yeah.
lot of stuff, going back and forth, doing, but I'm not really making any progress. So I have to have a clear set of goals. This is what I want to do. So every
Right.
decision that I make has to reinforce those goals, or it's not a healthy decision for me. Because I went through a period where I was just grinding, what we call grinding. But when I look back, I was in the same spot, just kind of chasing my tail. Boom, just going in circles. So now I'm able to say, does this choice move me closer to the goals that I have set out for myself? And looking at
Yeah.
myself strategically and my enterprise strategically, like that really helps.
Here's something I want to tell you because you touched on something that a lot of people don't like to talk about. Being busy and broke. There are a lot of people out there, they're busy as all get out, but they're broke as all get out. And I've got a great friend of mine, the Killer Pitchmaster herself. She talks about being busy, booked, and paid. She doesn't talk about being busy, booked, and broke. And
Right.
so those are the things that we have to come away from. We have to go from free to fee. And a lot of times, what happens is people talk about being oppressed, and oppression is real, but we stay stuck in that oppressive mindset. So, all the while we're perpetuating oppression, sometimes we don't come out of it. And I think it's because sometimes we just have to say, you know what? I'm not going to let this beat me down. I am going to recreate myself. I'm going to look at somebody who's doing it. And here's a major key. I tell people that I coach, ask the person who's doing what you want to do. Ask them how they got there. Study them.
Right.
And here's the thing. A closed mouth don't get fed. And if you guys
Right.
out there, the viewers, you hear this, you know this is true. A closed mouth don't get fed. Go ahead and put a C in the comment block because a closed mouth don't get fed. You have to rise above the oppression because we know it's real. You have to rise above being beat down, and you have to say, you know what? I will, I must recreate myself to be the best version of myself that I can be. So again, I'm putting you right back in the hot seat, my brother. How can people recreate themselves?
I think number one, you have to be honest. And sometimes to admit certain truths to ourselves is very painful, because we don't want to see ourselves in a certain way. But if you can't be honest with yourself and you make decisions based on a false narrative you created, you're never going to meet with any real tangible success.
I concur.
You have to first do an honest assessment of who you are as a professional before you just put a strategy together to move to where you want to go. So you have to start from an honest place. So that's what I would say. Outside of that, discipline. The world is for the taking, for those who want to go forth and conquer, to achieve, to blaze their own trail. The other thing I would say is maybe not follow the crowd. On a spiritual sense, if God gave you a vision, he gave you that vision, and nobody else may not ever understand it or see it, right? And so I kind of use that axiom: I am the only one who needs to see my vision. So I don't spend a lot of time trying to explain to people what I'm doing. If I see it and I feel it and I believe it, I move on it.
Exactly.
And then for the people around me,
yep.
they slowly but surely they come to see what I saw, many years ago or many months ago as right, something is coming to maturity. It may not make sense for them, but it doesn't have to. So find your own lane and build in that particular, lane. And you can do it inside a corporation, but exactly. You definitely have to do it if you're going to be an independent business owner. Yes. But find your lane. I will never be Denzel Washington, but he will never be me. So there's no reason for me to try to be what he is. It's for me to dig deep into who I am, discover who I am, and bring that forward. And then when I understand what that is, putting myself in the appropriate places to be successful. Right. Just like, we met in Augusta, Georgia. Exactly. Even though I had all of this creative talent, there was really no market there for arts and entertainment at a high level. I mean, people were doing things, but it was virtually impossible to build a viable business in the arts in that city. Right. And that's not a shade to the city. It just doesn't have that infrastructure. Right. And for many people, it's just not a priority. Where it's vibrant in Atlanta. Many billions of dollars come through Metro Atlanta in the film and television industry, which have sparked so many cottage, opportunities. And that's good for people like me, because I can't get $100 million budget today, at some point, maybe that will happen, but I'm building towards that. I'm building my expertise and building the quality of what I do. So I say honesty, discipline, staying focused and committed. Don't be afraid to fail. And fail being in fear too. So many times I prevented myself from going after certain opportunities because I was afraid if I missed the mark, what that would mean. That's why I'm taking classes at Harvard now. I never thought I could even do something like that, but just say, you know what? If I'm going to, expand myself, let me go to the top. So I just went through the process, and it's like, what do you know? So I'm taking online classes, in leadership through Harvard, and I'm learning some groundbreaking stuff. It's really helping me as a professional. But that's how I'm thinking now. So now I'm packaging my projects to go higher. So recreating yourself, definitely got to be honest. I think that's the first thing. Give a truly honest assessment of yourself. But in that, you also have to kind of know, where do you want to go? Hopefully in that process of discovery, you can figure that out. Like, oh man, I always wanted to be a great chef, or I always wanted to have a bed and breakfast, or whatever that is. Discover that. Yeah, you may be working as an accountant now, or a store manager or something like that. But if there's something that you discover that you can do, I'd say go for it. If you fail, you can always go back and do that other thing, but give it a shot. Like I said, I left corporate America in 2008. Although it's been tough many, many times,
yes,
I wouldn't change it for the world, because now my lifestyle is built into what I do. I can get up tomorrow and get a flight to Costa Rica and just stay there 6 months and still continue to work, because a good chunk of my work comes through the cloud. And I can set my schedule from project to project. There's a lot of freedom in that. The 9 to 5 traffic snarl, I can make myself available for my family. If my mom needs me, I don't have to request permission. I finish the project that I'm on, and then I give my mom that time. Or if my son needs it, or my wife, or anybody, there's a freedom in that. It's a whole nother way to live, not restricted to a 9 to 5 cycle of living. I still put in a lot of hours. Most days I'm putting about 12 hours. I have to force myself to take days off because I love what I do. So I just get up in the morning, get my coffee, and I go to I'm in my office now. You can see all my notes back here. I just go to my office and I go in because I just love what I do. But yeah, I know I'm kind of rambling on. Don't get me started.
No, I love it, because you and I, we have these deep conversations, and a lot of our viewing audience, they can identify with what you're saying, because a lot of them are entrepreneurs and they've been there. They know about the long hours. They know about how it is to take responsibility and be responsible for their own success, as we talked about before. They know about the fact that oppression is real. And here's a key. Oppression is real from one culture to another, but even within our own culture, there's oppression against women. There's oppression against men in our own culture. And so a lot of folks, they know that it's real. And again, a lot of our folks out there, they had to figure out how they had to recreate themselves to be as successful as they are. And so what I'd like to do is go ahead. We're going to take a quick break, folks. We're going to come back. And then we're going to get right into focusing on solutions, because we know tenacity gets us through. But when you're in the middle of something so difficult, how do you focus on tenacity? That's a good question. And when we come back, we're going to share with you how you can focus on tenacity, because let's face it, if you don't have the capability to focus on tenacity, you may otherwise fail. And not because you want to, but because sometimes you get caught up. And so we don't want you to get caught up. We want you to make it through. So we'll be right back.
It's time for you to start bossing in social media. For all your social media needs, you come to the right place at the right time to get your website designed, landing page, social media platforms, and get the training you need to get in front of the people that's ready to buy your products and services. Let me train you with StreamYard, Zoom, Clubhouse, and much more. And let me help you get your virtual professionals, not assistants, because assistants can only assist you, but the virtual professionals can give you that professional flavor that you need to expand your reach and increase your revenue. Jump on in and get in where you fit in and start bossing today.
Hi, busy women leaders. I'm talking to you. Are you juggling your family, your business, your career, and your health? Afraid that if just one ball drops to the ground, everything could fall apart because everybody's looking at you. You're stressed and overwhelmed. You're looking for answers, for help that's real help, for solutions. I have Vibrant Life Solutions that can help you. I am Hillary Gooden, the Vibrant Life Coach, author, speaker, lymphologist, and pastor. I empower busy women leaders with strategies to reduce stress and anxiety while increasing energy, clarity of mind, better sleep, better health, and vitality. Oh yeah, and boost your immunity. If you're ready for that, you say, you know, I need that in my life right now. Let's connect. You can reach me at www.hillarygooden.com. You can direct message me on Facebook or LinkedIn at Hillary Gooden. Or else if you would like to get on a free 20-minute strategy call, a clarity call, go to bit.ly/Hillary Gooden. That's bit.ly/Hillary Gooden. I absolutely believe you got the power to help your body, help you live a more vibrant life.
You got me running,
He's here, folks. Mr. Anthony on Page, producer, director, writer, and photographer, and so much more. He's here with us tonight. That's right. Get involved in more than 200 films with this guy. He's been on television and in theater, and recently produced a directed A series. And now we are discussing Tenacity Through Tough Times with the amazing Anthony R. Page. Only here at Lotus Riche Ignite. Come on, y'all. Hey! All right, and welcome back to the show. Want to go right into our wonderful folks out here coming in, checking us out. I want to say hi to Angela Elting. Good to see you. Happy that you're here all the way from Washington, D.C. And as I always say, Angie said this too, great mentors need great mentors. And I'm so happy to see so many of you here today. And I see Dr. PPP all the way from Canada is here. Another great mentor for folks. He says, hello, lovely, lovable Lotus. Mwah, right back at you. And I like what Angela said. Angela said, know your purpose and be our own truth. But I think she's saying be your own truth. And that is so correct. And that's what Anthony is sharing with us tonight as we talk about tenacity through tough times. Okay, so look at here. We've got Donna Dean. Donna Dean, the dynamic diva of getting it done. Donna Dean is here. And she said, you have to be in position for the blessing. And here's another thing. And thank you, Donna, for saying that too. Because not only do you have to be in the position for the blessing, you have to be able to say, yes, thank you, I will go, accept it, embrace it, and move into action. And then we've got the remarkable Kim Jacobs. It's the Kim Jacobs Show. Hey, it's the Kim Jacobs Show. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. The wonderful Kim Jacobs, all the way from North Carolina. She said, I am grateful for who made me to be. That's right. And of course, I'm doing double duty. I said, please like and share with your network. That's right. And Donna Dean said, you go, Harvard. That's right. My friend, my brother, me, just my college friend, he is in Harvard doing this thing. And of course, Angela said, continuous learning for improvement and advancement. That's right. And look, let me tell you something. I'm struggling with this right here, but guess what? Let me move this over. That's why I always wear a suit jacket. But anyway, but listen, no joke, man. It's just remarkable. Now, Anthony's back. We had a little snafu with technology, but this is about tenacity, right? So Anthony, check this out. Anthony said, I'm back in the waiting room. See how we communicate? I tell you, this is amazing. So Anthony, we've got a lot of viewers from all over. We've got Donna Dean coming in. Donna, let everybody know where you're coming in from. Thank you so much. She said fabulous commercial. That's right. Lotus Riche, nice show. Make all the commercials that you see. So thank you so much, Donna Dean. And we have Maxine Pearl Phillips McCoy is here. Hello, Maxine. Thank you so much. Maxine, you know how to come in. Let us know where you're coming in from. And I love Kim Jacobs. She said tenacity through tough times. Yes. And Why don't you help me out, my brother? Let's see what Donna Dean say. What's she saying, Anthony?
Oh, what's she saying? Put on the
Yeah, he's
glass.
gonna get his specs, y'all.
She said, yes, absolutely, Dr. Lotus. We must be ready to say yes and move towards action. Love this.
All right. And Maxine's in the house. She says she's coming in from Raleigh, North Cackalack. And what does she say?
She says, Dr. Lotus, you are on fire.
Woo woo! I'm on fire because he's on fire. We on fire together. Sweet, sweet. And Donna Dean is coming in from California. Happy to have you here. So for those of you that's just coming in, joining the show, tonight I have a remarkable young man with me. His name is none other than Anthony R. Page. He's a producer. He's a multimedia specialist. He is a director, a writer, an actor, a photographer, a designer at the Blue Bistro Creative, but also he's the CEO. And also he is currently in school at Harvard. You know why? Because he is tenacious, and tenacity has taken him through tough times and has made him what he is today. And so tonight, as we talked about tenacity through tough times, we talked about taking responsibility for your own success. We talked about oppression is real, and we know it. So if you know oppression is real, put an O in the comment. Come on, folks, put an O in the comment because we know it's real. And then we also talked about how can people recreate themselves. And then just before we went to a commercial break, we said we were going to talk about focus on solutions. We want to write them down. We want to apply them, and we want to produce them. And I'm going to get up close and personal with Anthony, and I'm going to put him all the way in your face, all the way in the hot seat, because Anthony, I would love for you to share how people can focus on solutions and not be the problem, but be the solution to the problem, and then write those solutions down and apply them and then produce.
Well, again, you have to make an honest assessment. You can live your own lie, but don't expect any meaningful progress if you make decisions based on a false narrative that you create for yourself. And you were talking a lot about tenacity. People don't respond as much to good as they used to. There were many years ago, I think, where good was good enough. Now you have to be great because there are so many professionals across the board that are coming in at the level of good. And that's not good. I can make a good film, but that's not going to get me a deal.
That's right.
I've made plenty of good little plays and good, little projects, but it doesn't get me a deal. You gotta be undeniable. You gotta knock their socks off. That's why I'm constantly training. I'm doing YouTube classes too. How do I be a better editor when I'm editing projects? Learning new software and that kind of thing. So constant improvement. You have to be tenacious if you want to hit a certain level of success.
Yes.
So because it's ultra competitive, and what's tough is your values tend to set up a boundary for you, because I have a certain set of boundaries because I'm Christian, because I grew up in South Carolina and my mama raised me right. So there's certain things that I won't do, but I see people cut so many corners and have so much immorality in what they do, and they're succeeding. Yes. Faster than me and getting things done, but because they will stab you in your back, they have no loyalty, they're dishonorable, they all of that stuff. And it's like, and I've gotten crapped on many times because I'm coming from a place of integrity. So I'm careful, very careful about who I associate with. Yes. Because that stuff will get on you, man. That by process of osmosis, because there's some shady people in this world, hungry, bringing all manner of brokenness. Because in our industry, so many people are attracted to the fame. They want that public validation. So they come and say, oh yeah, I want to grind and I really want to make good projects. They're not interested in the project. They're interested in being famous. Yes. They want to start and be Denzel in 6 months. I said, it's not going to happen.
That's true. That's true.
Really.
And people oftentimes don't understand that this is not just a 100-yard dash. No. This is a long-term sprint. Yeah. And I say sprint because sometimes when you're sprinting and then you feel like you're going to lose your way. You're
Mm-hmm.
running out of air. Your legs start shaking. I used to run track, so your legs start shaking and you're tired and you want to give up.
Yeah.
But you know that if you keep kicking, if you forever stay in motion, at some point, you're going to get to the finish line, but you got to keep sprinting.
Right.
I've seen
Absolutely.
people run so hard and heavy. If you ever watch the Olympics, I've seen people hobble across the finish line.
Right.
You know why? Because of that word that we're talking about tonight, tenacity through tough times.
Yeah. Right.
And you know, here I want to share something. I want to share something from our viewer in California. Donna Dean said, yes, God must be our center. I applaud you, Christian-centered and pleasing God and not man. And she also said, yes, we must keep our center on God, right?
Absolutely.
And she just corrected what she said. And that is so true. So let's jump to that right quick, because I want to talk about that. Because a lot of times when people fall down, when people are attacked, when they are oppressed, or when they make mistakes of their own that cause them to be in certain situations, they give up hope. When all it really takes is to really get recentered. Just really assess yourself, because that's what you talked about, making that self-assessment, being truthful with yourself. Where did I go wrong? I don't like this about myself, or maybe I shouldn't have done that. So now I need to reassess. I need to recenter. So I want to talk to you. How have you found yourself in a situation where you had to recenter? Share that with us, and how did you get back to it?
All the time. All the time. Well, because when I'm off center, I'm miserable. And it's hard to get out of bed, and I'm terrible to be around. I don't even want to be around myself. But that's when you build that culture. When they talk about organizational behavior, like I said, this is my company, so I have to build a culture.
Exactly.
I built my culture of my business and who I am and what I do on spiritual principles. Because I don't do ego on my set. You know, like, oh, this one person is more important than somebody else. No, it takes so many people doing so many things so well to make a successful film or a music video or a stage play. I need everybody to be at their best. So for me, being at the top, I want to create a culture where everybody is empowered to do their best work and put everybody in a position to be successful. I set that from the top. I don't devalue anybody. And because of the nature of who I am, I'll clean toilets, even though I'm the director or executive producer. I'll unload truck because, you know, if that's what it takes to get done, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get done. I do believe you got to stay in lanes, though. There's only one director on set and only one actor playing this role and only one person who has this particular job. Stay in your lane.
What? I was going to ask you to say it again. I'm going to go up close and personal. I want you to tell people again.
Stay in your lane, because that's chaos too. Again, another spiritual principle is order. The first thing God did was order the universe. He separated the night from the day and the, order. So you definitely have to do order. But, pride came before the fall. When I thought I'm popping my collar and, doing all of that kind of stuff, I fell 100% of the time because I had a disproportionate view of who I was and what I could do. I wasn't honest. And I had so much pride that I couldn't even take mentoring. I couldn't even take notes. From people who were trying to say, hey, brother, do this and do that. I'm like, I know. One of my favorite things was, I know. And I didn't know.
Yes. And you know what? Let me say this to you too. I heard you say, I couldn't even take notes. And this is one reason why, folks, catch this. I always say note takers are money makers and note takers are change makers. You know why? Because when you have the notes and you take action, and you have to take action. You just can't take notes. You can't just take notes mentally. You just can't take notes on your notepad. Make sure I'm not giving away one of my new novels right here, right? But you can't just take notes on your notepad. You've got to take them and then you've got to put them into action. And here's the thing. I know what you're talking about because I've been there. I know. No, you don't know. You don't
Right.
know. And sometimes you just got to put what's his name? Medea. Tyler Perry said, put the shut to the up. Sometimes you just got to put the shut to the up and be quiet here. Not just here. Not just here, but here in your heart space, in your soul, and hear the message. And don't get lost in the mess and miss the message in the mess. Because, you know, a lot of times there is a message in the mess, but so many times we are so busy in the mess, we forget the message. But there is a message in the mess if we just put the shut to the up and listen sometimes when someone's trying to tell us something. And I speak from personal experience. And now I'm going to put the shut to the up so that, Anthony, you can say what you was going to say.
You know, I think what you said was great because let me tell you, it's like that whole Jack Nicklaus comment, truth, you can't handle the truth.
You can't handle the truth. Yes.
Here's what I know. Life is honest.
Yes.
You can live in your bubble if you want to, but life is honest. That's one piece. Another piece, I do this full time. I don't have a job. Let me tell you the incentive. If I get it wrong, I don't eat. If I get it wrong, I can't pay the bills. Right? Yep. If I get it wrong, my wife is looking at me like WTF, right? You see what I mean? So that's incentive for me not to play with it. Yeah, that's incentive for me not to play with it because I mean,
exactly.
Being an entrepreneur, the rubber can hit the road. It's not like, oh, I just clock in and every 2 weeks I'm gonna get a check. Being an entrepreneur, nope,
that's not how it works.
So that's a good incentive because let me tell you, those ramen noodle days, woo.
I remember them ramen noodles, and you know what? It feels good to eat ramen noodles when you just want to eat ramen noodles, not because you have to. Not because you have to.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I mean, you know, I keep stressing honest because one of the big things for me is I couldn't handle the truth because I thought it invalidated me. When somebody tried to give me feedback to help me get better, I took it personal instead of, it should be taken personal, but I was so insecure, it felt like an assault instead of coaching.
Yes.
And I was so impacted by what I felt was an assault on my person and didn't really hear the message of what they were trying to say.
Right.
That's why I said you got to dig deep and get to the bottom of who you really are, you know, so you can be coachable. So you can, you know, like I said, when I didn't hear them, life came at me very honest.
Yep.
And life hit me right in the face, you know, and life kept coming and life kept hitting me. So you get tired of getting beat up like that, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, you get tired of getting beat up. You kind of straighten up and fly right after a while, because this is not for the faint at heart. Not at all. You know, to be a business owner sounds sexy and, you know, all cool and stuff like that. No, it's work and more work. It's work and more work. I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world, though.
And you know, I tell people all the time, you have to deal with life, or life is going to deal with you. So the question becomes, what really do you want? Because when you deal with life, you can deal with life on your own terms. I remember the show. It was a series, The Women of Brewster Place. Oprah Winfrey was in it, and a whole gamut of people were in it. But one part that I love the most, and this young lady, she has gone on, and she went on to be with the Most High. And she, Cicely Tyson, she said in this part of the series, she said, when her child was born, she held her child up to whatever gods would listen. And she basically asked them to bless her, so to speak, so that she could give a life to her child, so that she could live her life on her own terms. No matter what the deal was, that she could live life on her own terms. And that is huge. That is huge, because we have to be able, once we assess ourselves and understand who we are, and it doesn't come overnight, but we have to be able to live our lives on our own terms.
Right.
And in order to do it, it takes tenacity to get through the tough times. It takes
Absolutely.
being able to say, you know what? I don't know. It takes the time where you have to put, as Tyler Perry said it, the shut to the up. And we just have to listen and forever, like I always say, forever be the student and the teacher. I tell people, don't get mystified by you may come to my house or what have you. Oh, you got this degree, and you've done this, and you Guinness World Record holder and all that. You know what? Those are all wonderful things. But the most wonderful thing is the time and space that I get to spend with you. Just
right.
whomever I'm with, all of you
right.
that are listening to us. That is so rewarding. And so we've got to focus on that and not get caught up in the other things that don't mean a can of beans. And we have to be tenacious.
You're absolutely right. Let me give you a quick story. I started off as an actor in this business in the early 90s because I wanted to be famous.
Yes.
And you know why I wanted to be famous? Because I wanted to be loved. I felt like I wasn't loved because my father went to Vietnam and got PTSD, and I grew up without my father, right? I took it personal. I thought, oh man, my father doesn't want, so I grew up thinking I wasn't good enough. My father doesn't, want to be involved in my life. I didn't know until much later that he had his own struggle coming out of Vietnam. He was lost for 40 years before he passed away, but I made it about me, and that was my mandate. I thought I needed the big house, the big car, because if I had the big house, the big car, I could get that wife,
right?
And she would love me, and if she loved me, I would love me, right? But none of that happened for me until I learned in a beautiful and a humble way to love myself. That's when things opened up for me. I didn't like me, but I expected other people to like me. I didn't love me, but I expected other people to love me.
And it can happen. It can happen. But oftentimes people don't love you the way that you're seeking to be loved because you don't love yourself that way. And so this, as I always say, this is an interactive broadcast, folks. So let's take this time to give ourselves some love.
Yeah.
Give yourself some love. I'd like each and every one of you right now in the very space that you're in, I'd like you to take some time to give yourself some love. Let's take 30 seconds and in the comment, put a LM. I love me some me. I love me some me. Put a LM. You got 30 seconds. We'll be right back. Show yourself some love. You've come through some tough times, and it's taken tenacity to get there. Go ahead and put your LM in there, because you should love yourself some you. Because guess what? I love me some me. And it wasn't easy to get there, but because of tenacity, I'm here today. Put your LM in the comment block. All right, fantastic. And I see some LMs streaming in. And I see Miss Jacqueline Jeter. Good to see you, Miss Jacqueline Jeter. Happy to have you here. And thank you, everybody, for putting your LMs in there, because we want to make sure that if we give you anything, we want to make sure we give you something not to just survive, but to thrive. And let me take a quick message from Miss Jeter. Miss Jeter says, it's work on steroids, but rewarding beyond measure. That's right. Being an entrepreneur, calling your own shots.
Yes.
She said, you will either deal with life or life will deal with you. That's right. That's what I say. You've got to deal with life. And here's the key. You've got to love yourself. Love yourself, because if you love yourself, and I always tell people, you should always lead with love in business, in your personal life, no matter what it is, lead with love. And you've got to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, how in the world can you expect to demand? Because a lot of times before we've learned to really love ourselves, we demanded, oh, you're going to love me. You're going to love me. But a lot of times we're asking people to do something that we won't even do for our own selves. And Bernardo Garcia, mi hermano, hola, buenos dias, buenas tardes. That's my friend all the way from Texas. Great to see you, Bernardo Garcia. He said, you can only give to others what you give yourself. Amen. Amen. I love it. I love it. So, for those of you that are just joining us or still with us, of course, tonight we're at the top of the hour, but we have had a marvelous time thus far. We've talked about tenacity through tough times. I am here with the wonderful Mr. Anthony R. Page. He's a producer, a multimedia specialist, a producer, director, writer, actor, photographer, designer, student. He's going to Harvard right now working on his project, CEO of Blue Bistro Creative, and much, much more. And so you have knocked our socks off. You've come in and you've done several mic drops. And I got to tell you, Anthony, we got to have you back for phase 2 of Tenacity Through Tough Times. So, folks, make sure you join us for phase 2, Tenacity Through Tough Times. We're going to bring them back. If you've loved what you've heard so far, if it resonated with you, if it made you look inside, even if it made you look at someone else in your relationship with them and how to make your relationship with them better by making the relationship with yourself better, go ahead and put a 7, and see my hands about a 7 in the comment block, a 7 in the comment block, because we're going to bring them back. And if you want to come on the show when Mr. Anthony R. Page comes back on and want to be hanging out with me and put him in the hot seat and ask him some questions, go ahead and let me know. Just DM me, and we'll get you back on the show. And so we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come right back for some words of wisdom. So stick around, please, and thank you, because we're coming back with some final words of wisdom from my amazing, amazing friend and brother, Mr. Anthony R. Page. We'll be right back.
Thank you for watching the show, and be sure to follow us on Instagram, like and share, and let us know that you care. Also, let us know what other type of shows you'd like us to present just for you. Thank you.
You ready? You got me running. Shaking, baby.
Come on, Anthony.
Raise your hands up. Raise them up.
Hey, y'all. Thank you for joining our show. It's me and my college bro, Mr. Anthony R. Page. Y'all know he is here tonight, and we have been talking about tenacity through tough times. He has blown our socks and blown our minds. That's right. We discussed it. Tenacity through tough times. And welcome back, because we're about to do our final words of wisdom, giving them right to you. All right. Yeah. Yes, we had to get in on that commercial, y'all. And so we want to thank each and all of you for joining us tonight. We have had a marvelous time. Well, I don't want to speak for Anthony. Anthony, how's it been for you so far?
That's good, man. I love coming on, and you know what? It's meaningful to me that you and I have been able to keep in touch, because we went to college 2011, so around 2015. Right. We were both working on our masters, our MBAs, so it's great that we've been able to maintain a good, healthy relationship over the years. And it's meaningful to me that you continue to reach out, man. I thank you. You've been very tenacious about what you're doing, and I see you. I see you. So, you keep me motivated. When I see people out there on their grind, it kind of gives me a little bit of push too when I'm feeling down,
Yes. Awesome. And so, Anthony, again, I just want to thank you for being here. You're always amazing. You're always doing something to uplift, inspire, and empower people. So I would like you to take this time for you to have your final words of wisdom for this show, because, of course, we know you're coming back for the next Tenacity Through Tough Times Part 2. So with no further ado, I'm going to move on over so you can have your words of wisdom.
Oh, so I don't know. The one thing I would leave with people. Let me think. I would say success is a choice. And it seems obvious, but choosing to watch 2 hours of TV or 10 hours of TV is a choice. I can put that extra 8 hours into building that business, or I can sit on the couch and eat popcorn. So I would say success is a choice. When you have a business like this, you're choosing with every choice that you make, you're choosing success or not. I would say choose in everything that you do, choose success. The other thing is think 360. Things when you're an entrepreneur may not come the way you expected or happen the way you expected. Be willing to adapt to that. So those are two little notes that we'll get into more next time. But Lotus, thank you for having me on. I deeply appreciate it. And, hello to everybody out there.
All right. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And I appreciate that. Choose success and be adaptable, folks. Always, I would say, be malleable in the moment. Be malleable, because I've always said this, the come up is in the show up. You've got to show up for success in order to be successful. I'm going to say it again. You've got to show up for success in order to be successful. And so my words of wisdom this evening as we close are these. I would say, no matter what it looks like, no matter what it feels like, cling to tenacity, because as long as you're tenacious, someone, somewhere, somehow might just see you and might just say, I see your work, I see your struggle, but you are not alone. And they may say, let me show you how I've done that. Let me train you. Let me mentor you. And while they're mentoring you, guess what? You're mentoring them too. You're teaching them how to mentor while you're being mentored, and you're mentoring. Because after all, great mentors need great mentors. Always remember, you can have tenacity through tough times. And let me share with you this. You see that down there? My brother Elijah, and also my great friend Kim, we do this too. I want to thank you, everyone out there, for supporting the broadcast. And if you've not supported the broadcast, and if you'd like to support the broadcast, look right down below. You can hit me up on Zelle at lotusriche@yahoo.com. You can PayPal me at paypal.me/LotusRicheIgnites, or hit me up on Cash App. Currency, it's the $ currency for Lotus. So with no further ado, I'm coming right back to you on tomorrow with a wonderful show tomorrow with my girl, Maria Artie Gibbons. And we're going to do the number 2 of You Never Know or Expect It Until It Happens to You. So thank you so much again, Anthony, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for sharing in this moment with us. We appreciate you. And we just want to say to you, remember to ignite and take flight in every area of your life. And on our way out, I'm going to play this for you. Why? Because I can. And don't forget, make sure you're bringing inspiration to every nation. Why? Because you can. Let's get it.
See you guys.
Dance a little bit. Come on, let's go, y'all. Oh.
You ready? You got me running. Shake it.
Thank you to my brother, Mr. Anthony Arpage, for being on the show tonight as we talked about tenacity through tough times. And thank you, each and every one of you, for coming in to be a part of Tenacity Through Tough Times. And don't forget to see us the next time we do part 2 for Tenacity Through Tough Times with you. So until we meet again, ignite and take flight in every area of your life. And we'll see you next time, only here on the Lotus Riche Ignite Show. Good night, and thank you. Woo!